want it?
No. To check?
Up to you. You want to leave it?
No.
Okay, we are live from Adelaide and it's the morning after. And usually morning after are better for any sort of analysis, any sort of looking back, introspection, everything that you do. Maybe just after the match, sometimes emotions are high, but when you do it a good 12, 13, 14 hours after a good night's sleep, though we didn't have a good night's sleep, we only slept at 4 and had to wake up early because reception called saying checkout time is there. The Indian team has checked out of the T20 World Cup. You guys check out of the hotel. So we didn't have a good night's sleep, but at least we have gathered our thoughts. At least I have. Have you gathered some thoughts? Have you been able to put your finger on what all went wrong? For yet, the title of our video is who is to blame for yet another unsuccessful attempt at lifting an ICC trophy?
One word, the system. And when we say the system, includes the team, the captain, the coach, the management, the selectors and the BCCI. To an extent, the passionate Indian cricket fan, and to a great extent, us, we, the media.
We are to be
Because,
blamed. Why?
No, we are to be blamed because we were not rational. I mean, and this is not a sudden exit from the World Cup, like it happened in 2019, like it happened last year in the World T20 in Dubai. This one wasn't a sudden exit because we made it to the semi-finals. One victory, we would have been in the finals. It didn't happen. So,
How is the media to be blamed? We are the ones who actually pointed out. People will say, in hindsight, in our videos here, we used to keep pointing out the problems that India was going through. We warned people that listen, it was a miraculous inning by Virat Kohli in that game against Pakistan that you won. It was Bangladesh. We said this in as many words. It wasn't that India won that game versus Bangladesh. It was Bangladesh who lost that game. Pointed that out. Even in this tournament, there were enough situations or time where we said everything is not there. Honestly, tell me, did you feel, and I'm going to put the hand on my heart and say that I came here and I would have loved to have seen India win the trophy. You would have loved to have seen India win the trophy. We discussed that, ki bhai jana hai with the trophy. We'll go from Melbourne on 15th. But heart of hearts, I knew that this is not the team
no,
that
but
can
this
win the
we've
World
been
Cup.
saying for a long time, Nikhil.
It's not the team.
In fact, World T20, will India be the champions once again? This chorus began 2 years ago, while the COVID was still raging. The World T20 happened last year, and we knew then that all the worst fears that we had came true. Then we realized maybe things will change because the team did not panic. Now, by not panicking, did they do the right thing?
Things change now. A lot of things change.
What?
They removed Varun Chakravarti. They removed Rahul Chahar. है ना? They made a lot of changes. Then you got a new captain,
A new coach.
a new coach, and who else did they
See,
replace?
generally old wine tastes better.
Ah.
The older the wine, the better it is said to be.
We are in wine country, by the way. Great reference.
And
Close to
this was
Barossa
old
Valley.
wine in new bottle, but this wine is tasting sour now because
Angoor khatte hain.
Angoor khatte hain, and wine is made from angoors only.
Yeah, that's why I said.
But the fact is, Nikhil, I think T20 has not been India's strength. Let us admit that.
Yeah.
It was at one given point, not just the 2007 World T20 where we won. I think till about 16 we were in with a chance. The 16 World T20 was held in India. You still had players who were part of the World Cup 11 side. You had players who were part of the World Cup winning 2007 side as well. But I think we've not been able to translate the IPL, the performances of the IPL or the success of the IPL into Indian teams' success for T20s. I think partly the media is also to be blamed because we glorify performances in limited overs cricket. We've not been able to demarcate the two. No, we've not been able
No,
to.
we don't glorify. In fact, it's the other way around. We actually are always skeptical. We actually look at it critically. It's the fans, I'm sorry to say, but a lot of fans who abuse if you say that, listen, this player is not good enough to be in a T20 team, or this player is not good enough to be in a T20 team, or India is not playing the right
it
way.
is not
They
about
are the
that
ones
player.
who,
It is never about
abuse.
that player, that particular player. It is about the utility of that player in a format that keeps changing at a certain stage of that player's career. It's not as if I say Nikhil is outdated for T20, it doesn't mean that Nikhil never was good enough. It means that maybe instead of Nikhil, who's past his prime in this format, let's go in with a different man.
Yeah.
So again, you'd prepared for this, and you got this result. I mean, again, it was just one game. If any one of the batsmen would have played, an innings of his life, if England would have, played below par, maybe India would have beaten them. Maybe India would have been in the finals by now. They would have been looking at Pakistan. They might have beaten Pakistan, become the world champions. But there are so many ifs and so many buts.
No, it cannot. I'll tell you, if you and I could see it, I'm just surprised. And because here, Swarvanu Datta also says this team management has lesser brain than common folks. That's the fact. Indian cricket is suffering for less capable management, not for the talent. That there's enough talent is the my point is this.
You've read Mahabharata?
When yeah, I have not read it. I've seen it on.
I mean,
television.
but
Yeah, I know
the
story.
references.
Yes, yeah.
You know the difference between that chidiya and that machli, na?
Yeah, yeah.
So the problem is that वो अभिमन्यु चक्रव्यूह वाली बात हो गई
हाँ,
because
फंस गया
you
चक्रव्यूह
see the
में।
moment you decided last year not to panic, which I think was a good thing to do.
How was it a good thing? At
No.
that time, we knew that this way you cannot win. My point is, if you and I also knew heart of heart this team cannot win it, what was the hope that Indian team carried with them, thinking that suddenly some miracle will happen?
Nikhil,
Like, what will happen?
I never said India were the #1 favorites for this
Exactly,
World Cup.
exactly,
You, all of us, we
Yeah.
knew deep in our hearts that it's England,
Yeah.
it's Australia, to a lesser extent, it's New Zealand. Some people spoke about West Indies, which I discounted. I knew that the West Indies now do not have even the T20 players, and they do not play well together as a team. But we knew the template that England has created, and they created that template rising from the ashes. In 2015, in the World Cup, the 50-50 World Cup in Australia, they flopped. They were miserable. And then England decided that they are going to deal with the T20s separately, not align that with Test cricket, not align T20s with the one-days. Yes, there would be players who would be common in both the teams, in India, in other countries as well. But we were not looking at that formula.
No, but
I
what
mean, we
happened?
were no, we
Why
no,
were we
because
not?
we look at individual performers. Pakistan, it was a miracle because all of a sudden
Yeah,
Virat
one
Kohli
blinder.
produced
One blinder.
that miracle in the last 3 overs.
Yeah, doesn't
All
happen.
through the game. If you look
Yeah.
at the 40 overs, India won the first 5-6 overs. India won the last 3-4 overs. In between, Pakistan had their hands on our neck. The Bangladesh game, again, Liton Das, and these very conditions at this very ground taught you how to approach a T20 innings. I mean, yes, rain fell and then you had a break. Bangladesh panicked, they choked. India realized the opportunity and they created that victory against Zimbabwe. Now, I'll take you to the Zimbabwe game. While we were batting and against Zimbabwe, aware that we were in the same finals, aware that there was no pressure and it wasn't really a knockout game, we were still struggling to get to 140, 150. Surya Kumar Yadav came, produced that blinder in the last 3-4 overs, and you reached a stage where Zimbabwe were out of the game. Netherlands, again, they were pushovers. South Africa, tight game, you lost. The point is, Nikhil, we do not play T20 the way it ought to be played. Even Pakistan doesn't. But Pakistan have 6 bowlers to choose from. They've got 6 wicket-taking bowlers. And I think they've got the finger on the pulse. They knew in these conditions, Nawaz is a good left-arm spinner, plus somebody who would bat. They knew that Shadab Khan, our leg spinner, would be their trump card. They knew that the fast bowlers would come, get wickets with the new ball, with the old ball. The only thing was their batting. Having done this, having reached the finals with just one Babar 50, with just one Rizwan 50, is credible. Their batsmen haven't really scored runs, but there have been younger players who've risen to the occasion. Shadab has, Iftikhar has, others have. Now in India, the problem is your strength, your main three batsmen, the 1, 2 and 3, who are the core of your team, and regardless of whether you win or you lose, whether they score the runs or they don't, at whatever pace they do or they don't, they will still be playing in each and every T20 game. They've let you down. The
No,
1, 2, 3.
you
And again, difficult to say why, how much to blame Rahul, how much to blame Rohit and then Virat. Virat has 450s in this World Cup, and on paper, that would look outstanding. I mean, he's, I think, the highest run getter in the tournament so far. He may end up as the highest run getter in the tournament, in the main World Cup. But again, I think your 1, 2, 3, the way they approach the first 10 overs is not the way to win a big game. Yesterday, like in every game, you lost your first wicket within the first 2, 3 overs, right? And then you had safety first approach. In the first 10 overs, you scored 62 runs, having lost just one wicket. In 10 overs, on a good batting surface, smaller boundary comparatively, if you get to 62, that can only happen if you've lost 3 or 4 wickets. Because you're now wanting to get to the last few overs and then you want to look at the scoreboard. But if you lost just one wicket, and there's this Adil Rashid, there's Livingston bowling to you, 7 overs, they conceded 41 runs. Did you at any stage find any batsman going after the leg spinners? You knew that they're going to, and the English captain would have, he would unleash these two leg spinners when Rohit and Virat would bat. But what were you doing? You were looking at singles, you were looking at twos, and then a boundary here and a boundary there. Did you at any stage look at any batsman thinking, अब मैं ये 6 ball पकड़ता हूँ. I hit this bowler for 15 runs in this over or 20 runs in this over and then we'll take off. So that didn't happen. That didn't happen because again, every game, the first 10 overs, you want to bat like this and then hope for Surya or Hardik to take you like this. This may happen once every 3-4 games. It had been happening for them every league game. But in the knockouts, the moment Surya Kumar Yadav fell, you knew. I thought 150 would also be a problem. It's just that Hardik scored those runs in the last 10-12 balls and you got to 168, which is not a bad total. And then you're bowling. Because you knew that 168 wasn't the par score. So if you knew at the halfway stage that 168 wasn't a par score and your bowlers were way off the mark, your fielders were clueless and your body language was defeatist, you should have known that 168 is not a par score while you'd started batting. You should have gone for 180, maybe 190. I don't know why in T20s we still play like the ODIs. You hit a boundary, the next 2-3 balls, there'll be one dot ball, there'll be one single, maybe an odd double here and there. 42 dot balls?
Yeah.
Of the 120 balls available in an innings, one third of the balls that India faced in their innings were dot balls.
I'll just give some stats now for this Indian team and this Indian batting. If you take a look at all teams here at this T20 World Cup, in the first power play, India has got runs per over, which is close to about 5 runs and over in the power play. That is the lowest for any team in this tournament. So even Netherlands and Zimbabwe and Bangladesh have better. People often talk about Pakistan having a slow start and starting slow. Pakistan is close to 7 in the power play. And what's really disheartening is that you get that 5 runs and over if you lose early wickets. Most times India has only lost 1 wicket. And just losing that 1 wicket, yet you have that kind of a strike rate or runs per over, just tells you clearly there's a fear of failure. Even if you look at your top 3 batsmen, yes, Virat had a good tournament. All your 3 batsmen in KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, the ones you say are game changers who can turn the game, they are getting in the power play run a ball. All 3 of them almost run a ball, maybe barely 105 or 110 strike rate, all of them. I know a lot of people have pointed out Rohit Sharma has done well. Yes, he's not had a good tournament. So has KL Rahul. You saw that again, once again, I know this is a criticism that comes his way, gets runs against weaker teams, but that's the truth. Take a look at this tournament as well. Crucial games didn't get you the run. Virat Kohli also has one way of playing, played that blinder against Pakistan, but can you afford to be in a position where you bat like that? Only thing I said, you played in Adelaide. you saw that game where a Liton Das from Bangladesh showed you that in this pitch, okay, I agree, we heard from Josh Butler, even England hadn't batted like this in previous games. But why? Josh Butler said, because we respected the conditions and we respected the opposition. As soon as they realized they've come to Adelaide, which is the first game they've played in Adelaide, they realized this is a place where you can bat like that.
Yes.
They changed their template and batted like that. India had the advantage of seeing that Liton Das showed you that that is how you bat. Any other team, if they had got a start like Liton Das gave you, they would have won. So you had some sort of match to look back at, which would have given you an idea what is the approach you have. Okay, that match you got away with, Bangladesh shooting themselves in the foot. At least this time you should have come prepared. But no, that wasn't there. Once again, you hoped that we'll be there, somebody will come to the party. Sky did not. Okay, Hardik came, somebody will get you the wickets. Wickets, by the way, these bowlers went for a lot of runs against Liton Das also. It was a run out that changed the game. So clearly these bowlers also didn't know how to get wickets here in these conditions. Did you change your bowling lineup? You didn't. So you didn't learn anything from that Bangladesh. You were just hoping for a miracle to happen.
I think the selectors also, they've yielded to the team management's demands. Last year when they lost in Dubai, the selectors said, we've given them the team that they wanted. Fine. Then why have a selection committee at all? You realize that it was a mistake. The team said, oh, the selectors did not give us the players we wanted. And the selectors said, we gave them the team they wanted. So we don't know who was speaking the truth. Then you did not learn from the mistakes.
Buck stops with the captain. He has, see, in cricket, you
Of
know
course,
that.
of
He
course.
will have
The
to
captain
take
and the coach.
Yeah.
The captain and the coach. And who's your coach?
I'm saying on what basis? Okay, Rahul Dravid, greatest player. I have the highest regard for him. How did, when you select someone, if you select somebody to join a team or a program or whatever, you take a look at their past record, what they've done in the past. My point is, Rahul Dravid as a player, one of the greatest, I'll agree, who has ever played the game. Rahul Dravid as a coach of India A under 19, great is one of the best. Maybe he's suited for that role where he can groom youngsters, guide them on the right path. But Rahul Dravid at the highest level, he has been coach of 2 IPL teams or been in a position, you could call it director, whatever it is. But he was the man in control, right? He was the coach with Rajasthan, was the coach with the Delhi team. Just go back onto those 2 seasons, you'll realize that those teams committed harakiri in terms of team selections, in terms of their strategies. A lot of data came into play. All of these things came into play. What happened? And so my point is, was he even the right guy in this format? England look at different coaches in different format, different support staff. Look at Pakistan on that front. They thought that it was best to get a Sean Tate to come play, who's played a World Cup T20 final. They thought it's best to bring someone like a Matthew Hayden to come and play, who's played this format. But we have that fixed, old, orthodox approach. And
no, I would agree with what Harbhajan said in your interview yesterday on Sports Today and on India Today. And it's just a suggestion. We said no, he has the highest regard for Rahul Dravid. But he said in T20s, maybe Rahul Dravid needed somebody who could align with the T20s. Maybe an Ashish Nehra or a Harbhajan himself or a Gautam Gambhir or whosoever wants to be the Indian coach. Now, yes, indeed, in T20s, Nikhil, you need the thought to change. I mean, normally how people play T20s, Australia, New Zealand, England, they take risks. They start by taking risks. If they lose wickets, that is when they then play out the game and look for the last 5-6 overs. India, on the other hand, is very conservative. I mean, in bilaterals or elsewhere, you would find your openers going hammer and tongs.
But they said they were changing the approach, Rohit
they
Sharma. And so
they
where
did.
did that approach
They did.
go?
In
What
England,
happened?
you saw that. In the
So
bilaterals, you saw that.
why
Where
was
there
that
is no
ignored?
fear of failure. Here, all of a sudden, they had this fear of failure. And this is a World Cup. You need to get your runs. I need to get my runs. Himanshu needs to get his runs. Ashish needs to get his runs. Everybody needs their runs. And then they want Surya Kumar Yadav to come and bail them out every time, which is not going to happen. Which is not going to happen. So, if your major 1, 2, 3 players, the main players, who, of course, with the kind of record that they have, the class that they bring, the number of runs that they've scored, they would not want to be considered a failure in the World Cup. I mean, for someone to get, let's say in 14 balls, if someone were to get 28, he would not be happy because he may not end up as the tournament's highest run getter. He may not then be in the top 5. So they want their runs in their own way. in their own way. So the coach had to speak to the captain, or the captain had to speak to the players, and then say, listen guys, this is the way that we're going to start. And these are experienced guys. They've been playing IPL for ever since the start of the IPL. They've been playing in the IPL. They've been playing in bilaterals. They've been playing in the World Cups. And they also know now that India, I used to say this, Nikhil, the kind of templates that you have in world cricket in T20, India were always 20 runs short of what the game demands now. So if at 168 we thought we were in with the game, England knew that this was their game. So England knew that the par score in a World Cup semi-final should not be 168, should have been 188. But India were content with 168. Because they were playing for 168, they got to 168. If the Indians at some stage had decided that 168 is not enough, let us go for 180, let us go for 200, that will only happen the day that you start by scoring 60 runs in the first 6 overs. But the first 6 overs, were the English bowlers outstanding? No, they were not.
No, they were not.
They were not.
But I see again in terms of template.
Adil Rashid is a Shane Warne. But you allowed him to.
Correct.
You allowed him to.
No, but a lot of people are talking about templates. So again, I don't think there is a fixed thing for everything. You need different, strokes for different folks, so different condition, different approach. The same English team had a different approach in the group stages. So in this ground, you needed to play that way. So there is no one fixed way that everyone is going to play. My only thing I will go is that it wasn't just a batting failure. Even in terms of bowling, if you look at, let's say, if MS was the captain in this particular game and India get 160 odd. You know what would have happened? The game would have gone to the final over. And that Indian, I mean, if you just look at the way... I'm saying if the same thing would have happened at that time, under MS Dhoni, this same total, he would have played the right 11, he would have played a UZ Chahal. He would have ensured that his right 11 plays and his tactical thing would have been better. This would have gone to the last over.
I want to ask you, Nikhil, one thing.
Michael Vaughan tweeted that, saying 170 tough total on these conditions for England to chase. And England hadn't set the stage on fire this tournament.
One simple question. You played 6 matches.
Yeah.
Your bowling was exactly the same. I think the only change that India made was Dinesh Karthik for Rishabh Pant.
No, in this game, yeah. Bowling changes what you made is you got Deepak Hooda one game.
Well, that was in Perth. So, okay, fine. But these were your bowlers.
Yes.
So, other than Perth, was Melbourne, the opposition and the conditions exactly the same as you had in Adelaide?
No. Tough conditions to bat.
And difficult team also.
Yes.
A different team also.
Yes.
But you did not consider the leg spinner that you've been carrying. So, UZ Chahal, should he be happy that he is not going to be considered a failure yet again?
No,
Or should he be annoyed that this is the second World Cup that he's missed out on?
Yes.
The last time, they chose a wrong leg spinner. They misread the conditions. This year, the entire year, UZ Chahal was winning games for them.
Yes.
And then come the World Cup, you say Ashwin will win us the games. But did you see that happening over a period of time? My general question is...
What did you see in bringing Ashwin?
My general question is...
Does he get a lot of wicket in IPL? Does he bring you match-winning bowling performances in bilateral series? What happens that suddenly during World Cup...
I do not blame Ravichandran Ashwin at all.
No,
I think he's somebody...
management.
He's somebody who gives his 120%.
Absolutely.
But for someone who's discarding ODIs in 2017 is playing World T20 in 2022.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The Pakistan game, I thought looking at his fielding, he was struggling. He was minus 15 on the field. And again, a great trier, a very honest man. But maybe that should have been an indication for you to learn. Here, obviously, they want Ashwin to bat at number 8. Why should they want Ashwin to bat at number 8? Why not go in with just 7?
Yeah.
See, you've got Akshar Patel at 7, Ashwin at 8. Not for the bowling, but because they can bat a bit.
So for that 10 runs, you've compromised 3 wickets. The 10 runs that Ashwin gives you with the bat, you've compromised 2 or 3 wickets that UZ Chahal can bring you. So that is the blunder. I'll ask you quick questions. If UZ Chahal was English would he make the 11 ahead of Adil Rashid?
He would have played for England. He
Okay.
would have won the World Cup for them.
If UZ Chahal
Any other
was a
team,
Kiwi, would he have
any
played
other
ahead
team,
of Ish
bar
Sodhi?
perhaps Pakistan, because Shadab,
Ish Sodhi, he would have played ahead
Oh.
of him. He would have played. These are all standout bowlers.
he would have
I'm
played
just
for
saying.
Australia.
Yeah. He
Ahead
would have
of
played,
Zampa.
yeah, that is exactly my point. So, you are telling me
Played
that
for,
Indian
South
team
Africa.
is so good in T20 cricket that one bowler who can make the 11 of almost all teams that are here at the T20 World Cup. Even Shadab, I think, probably would edge him only because of his batting, not so much for his bowling. He cannot find a place in this Indian team. I mean,
There was
that
no
is
passion in the team, which is
that
okay.
is-
You know, that is something that me and Nikhil cannot comment upon. It's up to the players. But there are skills that you know beforehand. You know, what happens on the field is something beyond any coach, any captain, to an extent even beyond a particular player. But beforehand, you are aware of the conditions and what is the experience that the coach has. If he cannot read the conditions, if he cannot read the pitch, if he cannot read the weather, if he cannot read the team that you're playing against, all that you've got is matchups. A team has 3 left-handers, we'll play an off spinner.
Why did the captain not overrule him? I mean, he has the authority. The captain can decide.
No, I think the captain was always aligned towards Ravichandran Ashwin. I think Akshar Patel was, to an extent, a majboori after Jadeja.
But I'll ask you that question also. Before we, and then people say we talk in hindsight. Let's talk about Akshar Patel. Not his fault, okay? He did very well as soon as he became a replacement of Jadeja, but those are different conditions. When we were coming here, the people can take out our videos. All of our discussions, we pointed out these conditions may not suit Akshar Patel. These are not the skiddy conditions. Ball sometimes grips here, it bounces that much. These are not Akshar Patel kind of conditions. I am saying we have not played 100 test matches. There are people there now who have
Have you
played
ever
that.
touched a bat?
Yeah, by
No, you'll be
chance I
asked.
touched in a sports shop.
See, there's
We
a
could see it,
possibility.
why could the Indian
Nikhil,
team
this,
not see it?
this show is one day after India's World Cup exit. You've named it as postmortem.
Yeah.
You may end up giving content to the trolls.
No, I don't care. For
No,
the
no.
trolls. If I
see,
feel for Indian
see,
cricket, that's why
I also did a
I
show
speak.
on Sports Talk. The day India were out of the World Cup last year, and I made some suggestions, and they were hypothetical suggestions, not implying, not questioning the greatness of a player, but aligning with the T20s. I thought maybe it was time for India to change, accept the change, and then build a younger team, a fearless team for the 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
Now, good that that player started scoring runs, and I would get all the abuse. So there is a possibility that whatever you say now, the people may agree with that, but today we say Rahul Dravid has not read the conditions, and one game he reads the conditions well, or one day that Ashwin bowls well, or the 1, 2, 3 start with a run rate of 10 or 12, they'll use a clip,
Yeah. Don't
and
care.
troll you
Don't care.
and abuse you.
If you feel for Indian cricket, you have to continue saying what you feel like. They can use any clips. See, the good thing is for us, they're not mad fans of certain players that people are. So anything is said against those players, they take offense. If you're a lover of Indian cricket, then you will not align with a player or B player. You will love Indian cricket, and if
I think
even
any
if your
team is
best
known
is
by
not
the-
suited
any
for
team-
Indian
any team-
cricket, you'll object it.
My point is, I think teams should be defined and known by the titles that they have. Unfortunately,
Yes.
India last won a title, a tournament in 2018. No, even any tournament. The
okay.
Asia Cup.
Okay.
In your
No,
own
but
backyard,
I'm
which is
saying
comparatively a low-rung
Correct.
tournament.
That's why I said 2013. Now, for me, a multinational tournament with Australia, New Zealand, everyone there, that's what I count.
In the Asia Cup, if India were India started well and they lost to Pakistan, they lost to Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
and I remember in those games it was UZ Chahal who kind of brought you back into the game,
Yeah.
but you discarded him once again.
Yep.
What is Yuzvendra Chahal's fault? What is Harshal Patel's fault? The entire year, you told us that Harshal Patel was your death bowler, right? And he could bat.
Yes.
He was needed only in the nets. Chahal was needed only in the nets. Even Rishabh Pant. I know people take offense when we praise Rishabh Pant. How is it that a player, the world has seen him dominate in test matches, win you games? He's done well in the ODIs. He's not done well in T20s. I agree with that. But has the system been kind to him? You look at him as a number 6. One day you tell him to bat at 4. Then you say, oh, you could be a backup opener as well. You've confused the kid. And then, again, Dinesh Karthik is your friend. He's my friend as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very good guy.
Very likable guy.
Very likable guy.
No, you confused him too because you played him few games.
On the basis of 4 IPL games, you
No.
brought him back.
Yeah.
And then you shattered Rishabh Pant's confidence. Then you are not fair to Dinesh Karthik also.
That's what
If
I'm saying.
KL
You should
Rahul
have
was
given-
allowed to fail, or if Rohit Sharma was allowed to fail, or if any other player was allowed to fail, then you should have gone in with Dinesh Karthik as well.
Correct.
You changed him. You played Rishabh Pant in Zimbabwe, against Zimbabwe. Why did you not take any risk with Rishabh Pant yesterday?
No, they should have sent him a bit higher up the order. No, there were a few tactical blunders there. One, if you said you were preparing Rishabh Pant to play against Adil Rashid and nullify his problem, send him ahead of Hardik Pandya, get that impetus slightly earlier on, and then Hardik could have finished that way. Again, I go back to that first over Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I see Rishabh Pant walk up and stand up to the stump. Such a negative move. You're not defending a very big total. One way you can beat England is their strength is the openers. I'm still telling you, had you got their openers early, if they were 20 for 2, they would have struggled to reach this. Their middle order hasn't fired. They did well in that game against Sri Lanka, but hardly any time spent.
But you
have to be
threw
aggressive
in the
to
game,
them.
no? You
Correct.
you
Negative.
said okay, conceded.
Negative.
Now I think
that we want to save runs.
Yeah,
we
questions
don't want
must
to take
be asked,
wickets.
and I would ask the BCCI to own up this defeat. I know in the next few days there'd be stories which would say that Rahul Dravid has prepared so well. It was one bad game, and England had an outstanding day. The better team won. I think questions need to be asked of the management, the captain and the coach in particular. What was the vision that they had? Why is it?
Yeah.
Why is it that they had optional practice sessions throughout the World Cup? Most of the players I did not see in the practice nets at all,
Yeah.
including your batsmen. Fine.
England was all out for practice.
England
we were
came
there
out
2
2 days before the game. The faster bowlers bowled at least 30, 40 balls each. Even the fast bowlers. India were giving the fast bowlers rest, which I thought was okay. But then I thought maybe in a T20 game, you just bowl 24 balls, 4 overs.
Yeah.
Then you travel, then you've got 2 more days. Why would you not want to bowl in the nets? Your batsmen were not playing in the nets. And I think somebody needs to ask Rahul Dravid.
Yeah.
Was he wrong when he as a player would have extended net sessions? Or is he wrong now in allowing players to decide upon themselves, आज मुझे practice नहीं करनी है?
Okay, quickly taking 2 questions before we wrap up because it's our time for our flight. We're heading to Melbourne. Somebody asked, will you be there for the final? Yes, we will be there. We'll cover Pakistan versus England. Sanjay Tiwari is saying, but Vicky Paji, the reality is that you spoke about Virat not being fit, but the reality is Rahul and Rohit are bigger failures than Virat.
They are. Of course they are. And Rohit yesterday was a poor self what he was in the initial few years. I think he's somebody who redefined white ball cricket in T20s, in one-dayers. This World Cup has been horrible for the captain,
Yeah.
both in terms of his captaincy, his management, and I think his decisions along with the coach and his batting. I would not say his inning yesterday was similar to the one that Yuvraj had unfortunately in the World T20 final in 2014,
not that.
where he froze. But
Yeah.
Rohit bordered on that. I mean, in hindsight, if Rohit would have gotten out earlier, maybe that would have allowed your team more deliveries, more runs.
Yeah.
And Rohit, again, the kind of player that he is, a touch player, he has not looked in touch at all.
I think we've seen
He's
last of
struggling.
Rohit Sharma in T20 internationals. I think
Again,
it's
Nikhil,
done.
I would not pinpoint.
Same.
I would
think
not
so.
pinpoint. I
No,
would
no,
not.
I'm not saying he. I think the team management has to now look forward to the next year's World Cup.
Unfortunately,
A few people can
unfortunately-
concentrate on one-day cricket.
Unfortunately, your
T20.
system, allows
No, no,
the
it will
player
have
to
to be
say,
done now.
let me play one more World T20.
No, it won't happen.
Let me play
This
this
is not gonna
format.
happen.
Hey, no,
This is not happening.
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's a big statement. I think you may have seen the last of Rohit Sharma.
I am not bothered about
Uh,
T20s anymore, Nikhil. The
No,
T20
but
World Cup
even
is
that
going to
you need
happen
to,
in.
but
No,
you need
leave
to
it.
start today.
I said
I'm
put
saying
it in
you
the
need to start
dustbin.
today.
No,
Because
put it
if
in the
you tell
dustbin.
them today they'll play the next T20
You
World Cup.
talk about the next year's
No,
50-50
because last
World Cup.
T20s World Cup,
No,
we
you talk
thought things
about
will
no, you
change
talk
again.
about the main World Cup. Do
No,
you?
I'm saying
No,
India
again,
slightly
heart,
more.
hand
Okay.
on your heart. In the World Cup next year, the 50-50 World Cup next year in India,
Yeah.
you think India is going to win the World Cup?
No, they are. I'm
Yes
not
or
saying,
no?
I mean, they won't be the favorite to win it. They could still win it because they are slightly
That's a shame.
more adaptable and better at the 50 over game. They're not so far behind in
Again,
one day cricket as they are in
no.
T20
I think
cricket.
you are
They're
still
still not the
no.
favorites.
You're
I agree.
talking. You're talking from history's point of view, historical point of view. You've not played as many ODI games now in the last 2 years,
Yeah,
so you will play now.
but
But
you did well just now against South
Nikhil,
Africa
you
with your
did.
B team.
You
With the
you
B
beat
team.
England in England, yeah, in the
Yes.
T20s as well.
Yeah.
Did you not beat them?
Yeah.
Black and blue. You beat them in bilaterals. People will realize now that the bilaterals do not matter as much as
Yeah.
we imagine them to. We look at the numbers, the runs and the wickets and the victories for captains in bilaterals. But it is the World Cup that matters. Or as a nation, let us get past this feeling. Let's get over this feeling. नहीं जीतेंगे World Cup, नहीं जीतेंगे World Cup. Does not matter.
Okay, one quick comment before we leave. Shubham is saying, hey, Nick and Vic sir, don't be angry. We saw this coming. I feel we need to go past heroism of players. They become undroppable.
point.
We need young team. Doesn't matter if they flop, throw the dice at least. Exactly, Shubham. I think you've just summed up what we were trying to say. But unfortunately, completely out of time. We have to wrap up here. Otherwise, we'll miss our flight to Melbourne, and we want to be there, watching a good final between England and Pakistan. And may the best
Who's
team
the
win.
favorite?
I would say England marginally. What do you say?
Same here.
Okay.
Because I think they've found the mojo well in time
Yeah.
thanks to India.
Yes. And Mark Wood comes back, then they become even more dangerous. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us.
See you
for
in the evening.
company. See you later.
From Melbourne.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
See you. Vanakkam.